Hi, welcome to the third video of the lecture number 7 of the process mining course. In this lecture, we are going to discuss the different problems of the process simulation and the data-driven simulation. So first, let's start with what are the problems or the threats to validity of the simulation. The first thing is the stochasticity, that we include a lot of randomness into the simulation. The second thing is simplifying assumptions of this simulation scenarios and the data quality. The first problem, which comes from the randomness that we add to the simulation. So the simulation differs from one run to the other. So the more we run, the more we will have different results. So in order to fix that, we can take the average of different runs of the simulation model. The second problem is simplifying some assumptions that we have over the simulation. The first thing is we assume that the employees inside the organization, they work without any interruption. So we assume we don't have any employee who wants to bring some coffee, or an employee who just want to print some paper. This kind of interruptions we don't simulate inside our simulation model. The second thing is we can't simulate the multitasking. If a resource is executing more than one task at the same time, we can't do that. In the simulation, we assume that every resource executes a specific activity at time, only one activity at time. So we can't simulate the multitasking approach that can be done by some employees. The third simplification is the batching. We can't simulate batching of some activities, because in some organization, an employee can just collect some activities together in order to make it simple for them. So by batching them, it will take shorter time for them. However, in the simulation, we have the assumption that every resource is executing only a specific activity at a time. Also, we assume that the resources are just working over time. Some resources are not willing, for example, to perform an application assessment in the morning, or today they have other tasks. This assumption can't be represented inside the simulation. The last problem of the simulation is the data quality. If you build the distribution of the execution time for the activities based on your guesses, and these kind of guesses are not correct, so the simulation itself is not going to be correct. If you don't study your event log that you have inside the organization, and you just set the parameters based on your guesses, that will not bring you an accurate simulation. The solution to this problem is to perform what is known to be a data-driven simulation. In the data-driven simulation, you have an event log that captures the execution of the business process inside the organization during a specific duration of time. In this duration, you have already recorded the execution of activities. You have recorded the probabilities over the branching. So you can perform some statistical analysis of the data that you have at hand in order to calculate the parameters for the simulation. And then you can repeat that until you can generate an event log that can simulate the event logs that you have at hand. Let's see an example. So this is the repair example event log. It's a set of cases that handle some repairs within a company. This model, we can bring the PPMN model, assume that we want to simulate this event log. So we have the PPMN model, and in the PPMN model, we can bring the time. So from the time of every activity, we can get the average, the median, the maximum, the minimum. You can do that through a priori, or you can do that through Python, and we will explain that in a later lecture. So you can get the duration that you need to set for the execution time of every activity from the event log that you have at hand. And the branching probability, we can get it from the relative case. So You can set the frequency to be the relative case, and then you can get the branching probabilities over this kind of branching gateways of the Peppermint model. Then you run the simulator and repeat that simulation until you be able to generate an event log that is the same or as close as possible to this event log that you have as initial event log. This is what we call a data-driven simulation. But the question is, can we do better? In order to do better, we can automate this repetition of simulation in order to generate the simulation model. This is a CMOD. This is a project at the University of Tartu from our research group. And this CMOD tries to automate the process of generating the simulation model. At first, we pre-process the event log and perform the process discovery using a split minor as the algorithm used inside a Promore. And then we perform a trace alignment and the log repairing. This is pre-processing for the event log. And after that, we process the distribution of the activities and the probability distribution over the edges of the Peppermint model. So the parameter extraction that we need to extract from the processing of the event log is, for example, the resources that we have inside the event log. They are inter-arrival distribution of cases, the activity distribution, the activity duration distribution, and the task assignment, who will execute what, and the branching probabilities. After that, we have already some simulation parameters that we can set for the simulation model. We generate the simulation model, and then we generate the outcome of the simulation model. Then we compare that to the original event log. And we repeat this process until we reach a set of a set of simulation parameters that will generate an event log that is close to the original event log. And then we have the simulation model that we can use for other simulation scenario. So this is CMOD, and for more details, you can read the paper over here. The source code is available on GitHub, and it's an open source project. So in this lecture, we have explained the simulation of the business process inside the organization, and we covered different what-if scenarios and different simulation parameters inside your organization. In the next lecture, we are going to deal with the business process project management and what are the different pre-processing and data quality steps that we need to perform over an event log before getting to the analysis. See you in the next video.